Hey, what's up? If you're like me, then chances are you've had goals to stop a habit. You might also have had goals to not fail at something that you're doing. Apparently, that's not the most motivating way to set your performance goals. I'm Craig, and we're talking about performance goal orientation. A performance goal is a goal that's based on a measured desired outcome, as opposed to a mastery goal in which you're trying to attain knowledge and mastery over a skill. The thing about performance goals is they can be divided in two different ways: performance approach and performance avoidance. A performance approach goal would be like, I'm going to win this game, I'm going to get X number of points, I'm going to get everything on my to-do list done. Whereas a performance avoidance goal would be something like, I'm not going to lose, I'm going to get at least X amount of points, I'm going to do better than the guy next to me. In a 1996 study, researchers looked to find the effects of different types of performance goals on intrinsic motivation using two experiments. In these experiments, participants were made to do multi-level word puzzles called Nina puzzles. They were separated into four groups. The performance approach group, which were told that they would be tested to see if they could perform exceptionally well compared to the average. The second was the performance avoidance group, which were told that they'd be tested to see if they performed less than average. The third group was the control, which was performance neutral, and they were told by researchers that they would just be measuring how many they could get. And the fourth group was the mastery group, which were told that they'd be given information on how much of the puzzle they actually completed at the end, giving them a mastery goal of completion. During this experiment, they measured intrinsic motivation, and performances all being statistically the same. Intrinsic motivation was the least for the performance avoidance group, which even had a lower intrinsic motivation than the control group. That means that the performance avoidance goals had a negative effect on motivation. In the second experiment, they tried to see if these goals affected intrinsic motivation with the moderator of social comparison. So they used three groups. The performance approach group, which was told that if they were scored more than their peers, then they would be labeled as having a good ability at solving the problems. The performance avoidance group, which was told that if they scored less than their peers, they'd be labeled as having poor ability at solving the puzzles. And finally, the control was the mastery group, which was the same as the first experiment. The results? The performance approach group was again the same intrinsic motivation as the mastery group, and the performance avoidance group was again lower, showing that the performance avoidance mindset undermines intrinsic motivation. And the researchers pointed out that the apparent reasons for this is because avoidance forces you to construe achievement setting as a threat, which may cause you to want to run away if the option presents itself. It encourages self-protective withdrawal on affect and cognitive resources. It disrupts your concentration and involvement. And it orients you towards the presence of failure-relevant information. You become hyper aware of what's going to cause you to fail. You focus on that, and it makes you want to run away from failure. Where on the other hand, the approach mindset causes you to perceive goal setting as a challenge, it generates excitement, it encourages affective and cognitive investment, it facilitates concentration and task absorption, and it orients you towards the presence of success-relevant information. In other words, when you have that performance approach mindset, you're aware of all the things that make you succeed, and because of that, you put more energy into succeeding. If you have long-term goals, or your goals are related to a monotonous task that you have to keep doing, performance approach goals can give more motivation and salience, especially when paired with mastery goals. So for greater motivation, use performance goals by aiming to achieve and focusing on what leads to success rather than what leads to failure. Alright, that's all I've got for you today. But if you like this video and want to know more about peak performance, you can click right here to subscribe. You can check out my videos talking about self-talk right here. If you would like to know more about this subject, I have a link to an article that I've written in the description. Alright, thanks for watching.